side. Murphy shooting, save a rebound on the view.
Hey everyone, I'm Casey, and welcome to the Red Rubber Duckling All Sports Network. And it is part 4, aka the season finale of the What If series. What if the FBS was in the style of the English football pyramid? So we went over. So part 1, I discussed where each team finished during this 2023 football season. And in part 2, we started the playoff round. And then in part 3, we did the quarterfinal games as well. And they doubled as promotion games. So let's go over which teams were promoted and which teams didn't make the cut. So we already discussed this in part 1. Liberty, Miami of Ohio, Toledo, San Jose State, New Mexico State, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and Jacksonville State will be promoted from their geographical districts up to League 2 next year. And the teams in green are the ones that get promoted up a tier. So Missouri, Arizona, James Madison, and Kansas, since they won their quarterfinal matchups, they win a trip up to League 1. The League 1 semifinalists are Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Boise State, and Iowa State. And they get promoted up to the championship division, while Washington, Ole Miss, Louisville, and Oregon State join the cream of the crop in the Premier League. So let's go ahead and go over the playoff matchups. We'll be doing both the semifinals and the national championship of each division. So this would be the college football playoff this year if we had the pyramid scheme. Michigan and Alabama will be going up against each other in the Rose Bowl, while Texas and Florida State will meet each other in the Sugar Bowl. As for the championship division, Washington will be the number 1 seed, even though they're the number 2 seed in real life. They will be hosting Louisville, and Ole Miss and Oregon State would meet in the other semifinal matchup. In League 1, we have Iowa State taking on Boise State and Oklahoma State taking on West Virginia. But to start things off, let's do the semifinals of League 2, and that is Missouri taking on James Madison and Arizona going up against Kansas. We're going to start with Missouri versus James Madison. All right, so the first one is Missouri versus James Madison. Let's go ahead and start. And it's going to be the Missouri Tigers getting a game-winning touchdown with 30 seconds left. The Cotton Bowl champions in real life barely squeaked by James Madison, who almost pulled off a miraculous comeback in the fourth quarter. But Missouri survives 21-18. Missouri goes to the League 2 final. And they will take on the winner of Arizona versus Kansas. Let's get to that right now. Let's get to Arizona versus Kansas. Winner takes on Missouri. Oh my Lord. It's going to be the Kansas Jayhawks. A blowout win over Arizona, 41-13. Yeah, that ain't even close. Kansas will take on Missouri. Now, let's get to League One, where we have Iowa State taking on Boise State to start things off. So keep in mind, Boise State is the home team, considering Iowa State is the number 8 seed due to them upsetting the number 1 seed in League One, NC State. So Boise State will play host to Iowa State here. And Boise State puts an end to a Cinderella run. It'll be 29-17. Boise State, with 2 touchdowns to seal it, will be moving on to the League One final. And they will take on the winner of the semifinal between Oklahoma State and West Virginia. Let's get to that. All right. Let's see who takes on Boise State. And it will be the Mountaineers of West Virginia shutting out the Cowboys in the 4th quarter, and they will move on 31-21. So it will be Boise State versus West Virginia in the League One final. That should be a good one. All right, so it'll be Washington versus Louisville, and then Ole Miss versus Oregon State. Let's go ahead and do Washington versus Louisville. All right, time for the first championship division semifinal. And it doesn't come as a surprise. Washington gets off to a hot start in the 1st quarter, and they never look back. Washington, without a doubt, goes to the championship division final, 51-21. So Washington will be taking on the winner of Ole Miss versus Oregon State. All right, so Ole Miss versus Oregon State. Who wins? It will be Ole Miss. And Caden Costa with the game-winning field goal as time expires to send the Ole Miss Rebels to the championship division final against the Washington Huskies. 34-31 the final. So Washington in a very good matchup against Ole Miss. Now it's time for the Premier Division playoffs. We got the semifinals here. The winner will move on to the national championship game. Michigan versus Alabama, and then Texas versus Florida State. We're going to start off with Michigan versus Alabama. So this right here would be the Rose Bowl if we had a football pyramid system. Michigan versus Alabama. Hey, we're going to get that Rose Bowl in real life. And at the time of this recording, about less than a couple hours. Let's go ahead and do Michigan versus Alabama. It's very close, but Michigan prevails, and they will move on over the Crimson Tide 24-17. And it is not my honor, but it's certainly my duty to put Michigan in the national championship. They will take on the winner of Texas and Florida State. All right. It is time for the Sugar Bowl. The winner will take on Michigan in the national championship later on in the video. And it's going to be the Texas Longhorns. Jumping out to a 24-7 third quarter lead. And Texas moves on 27-13. So, depending on who you are, this is your burn in hell matchup. But Michigan versus Texas for the national championship. Now, let's get to the final games. We got to give out some hardware. And the League Two final will consist of Missouri and Kansas. So, as I mentioned, all of the championship games will be in the site of the College Football Playoff National Championship. And so the Missouri Tigers and the Kansas Jayhawks will be playing each other in Houston, which is where the national championship is this year. So it's time to find out who is going to win. Your 2023-2024 League 2 champions are the Kansas Jayhawks. Thanks to a 28-point second quarter, they take good care of Missouri, and the Kansas Jayhawks are your 2023 League 2 champions. Kansas Jayhawks get the upset over Missouri, and they are your League 2 winners for this year. So now, the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Boise State Broncos will do battle. And this is for the League One trophy. All right. Your 2023-2024 League One champions will be the Boise State Broncos, getting off to a hot start in the first quarter, and they held the lead ever since, as well as getting a field goal to put the game out of reach a little bit for West Virginia. The Boise State Broncos win it 27-22. So the Boise State Broncos are your 2023 League One champions. And now, time for the championship division final between the Washington Huskies and the Ole Miss Rebels. So it's Washington versus Ole Miss. Let's get to it. So the winners of the championship division are the Washington Huskies, and it ain't even close. Up by as much as 27-0. Washington, led by Michael Penix Jr., never look back. 54-21. And the Washington Huskies laid waste on the championship division, as they are your 2023 championship division champions. And last, but certainly not least, your national championship is the Michigan Wolverines taking on the Texas Longhorns. This should be a really, really good matchup. The national championship. And here we go. Michigan Wolverines and the Texas Longhorns in the College Football Playoff National Championship. Let's see who we got. And by a score of 21-14, the Texas Longhorns steal the national championship away from the Michigan Wolverines. Jonathan Brooks with a 49-yard touchdown run, as well as the 2-point conversion to put Texas up in the final 2 minutes. The Texas Longhorns, according to the simulation, are your 2023 national champions of college football. And so, the 2024-2025 college football pyramid will be as follows. In the Premier Division, you got your national champions Texas, followed by Michigan, Florida State, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, LSU, Notre Dame, Tennessee, Clemson, Washington, Ole Miss, Louisville, and Oregon State. In the championship division, you got Kansas State, Utah, USC, TCU, Oklahoma, Tulane, Texas A&M, Wisconsin, Iowa, UCLA, Florida, Maryland, Texas Tech, Minnesota, Illinois, Arkansas, Boise State, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Iowa State. In League One, we have Mississippi State, Wake Forest, Pittsburgh, Baylor, NC State, Kentucky, North Carolina, Air Force, Memphis, Duke, Auburn, UCF, South Carolina, Washington State, Syracuse, Western Kentucky, Kansas, Missouri, Arizona, and James Madison. And in League Two, we got Houston, Purdue, Michigan State, Cincinnati, SMU, Troy, Miami of Florida, Fresno State, UTSA, Appalachian State, California, Nebraska, Liberty, Miami of Ohio, Toledo, San Jose State, New Mexico State, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and Jacksonville State. Let's get to the geographical districts. Let's start with the South District for 2024. We got South Alabama, Louisiana, UAB, East Carolina, Coastal Carolina, Georgia State, Arkansas State, Georgia Southern, South Florida, Vanderbilt, Florida Atlantic, Middle Tennessee, Southern Miss, FIU, Charlotte, Louisiana Tech, and Louisiana Monroe. And Kennesaw State will be joining the South District after their transition period from the FCS starting in the 2022 season. They'll be in Conference USA in real life, so they will be joining the Chick-fil-A South District in 2024. Kennesaw State, welcome to the big leagues. In the Midwest District, we have Northwestern, Ohio, Bowling Green, Northern Illinois, Indiana, Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Ball State, Tulsa, Western Michigan, Akron, and Kent State. In the East District, we have Marshall, Army, Rutgers, Boston College, Old Dominion, Virginia, Navy, Temple, Buffalo, UConn, and UMass. And in the West District, we have BYU, Arizona State, UNLV, Wyoming, Texas State, Colorado, Utah State, Rice, Stanford, North Texas, Colorado State, San Diego State, Hawaii, New Mexico, UTEP, Sam Houston, and Nevada. That is going to do it for this 4-part What If series. And if you want me to, go ahead and put in the comments below if you want me to reassign the championship pyramid for this upcoming season. I will gladly do so. But I look forward to seeing you guys in the next What If series. And you can go ahead and put down what suggestions you got. Like, what if the 1994 season didn't have that strike? Or the 2005 NHL season? Do you want me to do that? Put your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will gladly listen to your suggestions. Keep them rolling in. That's going to do it for me. Thank you guys for watching this What If series. And until we meet again, I'm Casey. You're watching Red Rubber Duckman All Sports Network. I'll see you guys in the next one.